Hello and welcome to Detroit Become Human. This time we're back with Luther and Kara, and we are, if you remember, escaping from Zlatko and heading north to the American-Canadian border because we're hoping to take Alice to safety into Canada and therefore, escape to freedom and basically avoid all of the issues over that kind of Android civil rights and stuff like that. Now, you get to look around the interior and then get to interact with bits, and of course, something's going to go wrong. But anyway, we are going to be querying about where we're going because, of course, Kara's concerned over whether this is a trap, genuine, whatever. Obviously, she's already been misled by going to Zlatko, so it's pretty obvious that she's very cautious about what's going on. But Luther, he's heard from these other androids that this is a real thing, and although he can't be 100% convinced, that's all we've got, and hey, it's maybe worth a shot. Now, for the first time ever, we don't have rain, instead we have snow, and apparently it's pretty, so that's good stuff. Anyway, we are obviously working with the advantage of no humans around, but of course it causes a malfunction and we are going to have to find some shelter. And this is a lovely little scene here. Again, as I say, part of the Kara thing. It's a real sort of human touch story, very much human interest, a mother caring for a child, trying to create a family, all that sort of stuff. Connor, as we saw in the previous segment, much more about action, dynamic scenes, and then obviously the philosophical Marcus sort of stuff. So anyway, this looks pretty terminal. Lovely lighting effects, some great particle effects as well with that steam and the snow and everything. And the shadows are really good. I mean, look at those, they're great. So anyway, we are going to have to look for some shelter. There does seem to be a sign up ahead, and I think that's an arrow pointing to the right, so that looks like a good direction to go. So hopefully there's going to be some shelter up here. We'll find out, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that just looks great. You can imagine it's a dark, snowy, stormy night. Really, really good. And we have discovered a theme park, the Pirates Cove. And there's some just beautiful touches in this section, as I say. Really cool. Kara thankfully has a torch, and we are taking Alice through to shelter, keep her nice and warm. And as I say, I mean, this traditionally in old-fashioned games would have been rendered as a kind of a preset scene, but the in-game engine is pretty good. So as you can see, that the difference between the cutscenes and the actual gameplay scenes is fairly minimal, and as I commented on in the previous videos, I'm just amazed at the graphic leaps and bounds we've made, and the PS4 here just looks great. I mean, really, really good. It's a bit scary to think where we could be in another 10 years. Is it going to literally be indistinguishable from reality? Because although this is really high quality, it does have a slightly computer CGI look still. But anyway, enough about the technical stuff. Let's see if we can find somewhere to go and hide out in. A palm tree there, looking a bit out of place. And yeah, hopefully that's a fake skeleton. But this is a long abandoned amusement park, so why is it so abandoned, really? But anyway, this is looking reasonable, although the roof has collapsed, so it's not ideal, but maybe this would be a good spot. Now, Kara's a bit of a weakling. She's a service droid rather than a sort of combat slash heavy industry droid, so maybe we can get Luther to help us out here. And as our AI has detected, this it looks pretty safe inside. So yeah, we're not strong enough, but it's alright. Luther's on the case. And Luther's a real sort of gentle giant character, and I think it's beautifully acted, and you really get to feel for Luther. I mean, he starts off as a sort of a villain. He's now, you know, realised the error of his ways, and is really trying to help out Kara and sacrificing whatever to make sure she gets Alice to safety. And as I say, it's a lovely human touch. And you know, if you're not into the sentimental side, maybe you won't like the Kara storyline so much, but I think it's really good. And the way the three stories interlink and are slightly different is really quite nice. And I would put this as one of my favourite RPGs. You might have seen on my channel I also did a Vampire Bloodlines video. So these two games really up there. Mass Effect 1 and 2 and Knights of the Old Republic. You know, if you're into RPGs, you've got to try out these games. They're all really good. Oh, an android band. There you go. So it goes to show you these androids, definitely via all these books and the various storylines, you come to realise they're not literally just androids. They are a new form of life. And of course, sci-fi writers always love to talk about, you know, AI's out of control, you know, Deus Ex, System Shock, things like that. Even Portal. Anyway.
Would you like some?
No, I'm not hungry.
Seems to be some weird lighting glitch going on there, which I hadn't noticed on my playthrough. So that's pretty good. Oh, we found a gun. So you can see that unlocks future developments. So we could choose to use the gun potentially in the future. Anyway, we know it's cold. Maybe Alice needs to be warmed up, but you know, there are other things we can look at. And yeah, just casing the joint out, see if there's anything. Now I have played this before, so obviously I am aware of some of the options here, but it's always good to have a look around, see if anything's been unlocked either by previous playthroughs or stuff you just overlook when you're playing. It's very easy to just overlook stuff. Anyway, we're going to yank down this ragged old curtain to use as a little bit of a bed-in sheets to try and get our young lady comfy here. Now, this fireplace, bit of a giveaway if anyone's around, you know, suddenly smoke and lights inside an abandoned building. So, yeah, that could give us problems in a short while, we'll see. But equally, you know, this scene I think they could have made, you just take a rest. But anyway, Alice has wandered off and spotted something. And we need to make sure Alice is okay. Now there's a poster on the floor here, which is very similar to the poster up on the wall, you'll notice. Anyway, I think I'm going to be done checking things out shortly, and then we'll get to talk to Alice and Luther, and then we'll have a fun little bit in this scene. You'll also notice how in the game there are a lot of beats in the storyline where there's just quiet contemplation. It's not action-packed, so it's got that sort of old film vibe where, you know, you're allowed to sort of breathe a bit. It's not just go, hold your breath, action, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So again, I quite like that. Some people, maybe the problem they're going to have with this game is it does have slow sections, so it's a bit of a roller coaster. I mean, we've just come off the back of the exciting Connor fight scene, and here we are in a very quiet, contemplative, reflective, not much happening scene. And I like that. The beats really work for me. As I say, your mileage might vary. But anyway, there are various conversation dialogues, and when we get to the end with all the decision tree, you'll see there are various other options I could have taken, which I didn't. And here, as you see, you've got 4 choices. So I'm going to reassure her. You know, I'm playing Kara as the tender, caring mum who's always looking out for Alice to make sure she's okay. And I quite like this. We get to tell a little interactive story, and she wants a unique story. She doesn't want just some generic one. So here we go.
This is a story about a knight who...
No, not a story like that. Make one up for me.
This is a story about a little girl who lived alone in a big old house. She dreamed of being like all the other little girls, but she was different, and that made her very sad. Then she met a robot.
So as you can see here, we are making up a story basically based around the Kara storyline, and you get to pick, and I'm not 100% sure what the different choices do. I haven't actually explored, all the various options, but this is a scene that you could reload and replay the various choices to get different outcomes. And I think I've mentioned that before, but just in case I haven't, every single scene you can reload and replay that particular scene, and that might have knock-on effects, and also you might see stuff. But I am aware that there are some choices you make in early scenes that can impact later scenes, but there are other scenes which are fairly self-contained, and you get a different outcome within the scene, but it doesn't per se have a dramatic effect on the overall storyline. But anyway, lots to explore, lots of variation, lots of replayability. I've played this 2 or 3 times now. In fact, I haven't finished my current playthrough, but yeah, we'll see how that one goes. This particular playthrough, I was playing, for example, Marcus in a particular way, I was playing Kara in a particular way, and Connor, I got a feeling I played similar to my previous playthrough, but it's interesting how you got a totally different outcome by some subtle choices. So big props to Quantum there, and must have been absolutely hellish doing the project management of tracking all the variables. And to me, sort of what I expected out of Mass Effect, where you had all these variables and it would all come to a head in Mass Effect 3, and I was very disappointed in it. Luckily for Detroit Become Human, they've got everything self-contained. It's going to be interesting to see if they do a Detroit Part 2. I'm sure I read something about that, but I can't remember whether it was fans asking for it or Quantic confirming they were doing it. That might be something for me to look up for another playthrough video. But we are starting to get quite a way into the game now, and I've noticed in the videos have not been that popular, so I've got to decide whether or not to keep pushing forward. I probably will, because I'm very aware, for example, my Mass Effect 2 videos in a sort of a state of abeyance right now, and that's again because that didn't seem to get a huge amount of views. So I don't know, I mean, that's something. Should I move my video playthroughs into a new channel, maybe specifically targeting the video audience, because I'm aware a lot of people who watch my channel are more into it for the board game inside, although ironically my most popular videos seem to be my 3D printing ones. They've got the most views, but there you go. Anyway, hopefully you've been paying attention a bit to the subtitles here, but there's been a nice little bit of dialogue between Luther and Kara, and now suddenly we're being invaded by a whole load of androids who are the workers on the amusement park. And there's this big concern: are they goodies, are they baddies? We got choices. What do we do? Well, I'm going to protect Alice, and Luther is grabbing a gun.
Who are you? What do you want? Leave us alone!
Don't be afraid. We don't want to hurt you. We're just like you. Our name is Jerry. We were working here before the park closed.
And this is a lovely little bit where these are all Jerry. They've been working the Pirates Cove. the park shut down, and they've just abandoned the androids, just left them to basically, you know, run down their battery and die off. But of course, the Jerry robots, they're programmed to entertain little girls, and
The last few days have been
they're so pleased to see her. And there's a beautiful little touch here.
because she's in.
She should follow us then.
Oh, here we go.
Alice, I don't know if it's a good idea.
Anyway,
I don't think you have any choice.
here you go. Alice is going to get cheered up. And as I say, it's a lovely little touch. Some beautiful graphic effects. So here we go. Looks like we're going to a merry-go-round. And yeah, I just love the facial animations, the lighting, just really, really good little section here. And that is pretty much going to be it for this section. And as you can see, just looks great.
The little one can climb on board. The carousel is about to begin.
And you can see the joy on the face of Jerry. You know, they live for entertaining young children in an amusement park, and they've been denied that. And suddenly here is a chance for them to basically achieve their programming. And yeah, it's just a lovely little subtle way almost of implying some of the intrinsic wrongness of this setting, where, you know, if we did create androids and just use them as commodity things, if we program them with too much intelligence, are we sort of abusing the relationship with our mechanical servants? So yeah, I like it. It's subtle storytelling, unlike some of the more heavy-handed stuff that's in Marcus, for example. Anyway, I will leave you to enjoy this scene, I think.